The legal name addiction. Humanity is under the hypnosis of the legal name spell, where they think that the legal world is one and the same as the real world. Nothing could be further from the truth. But getting that truth through the veil of this mass hypnosis is like pulling hen's teeth. I'm going to lay out some facts regarding this fictional reality of legal or legal land construction. And it will be up to you, the reader, or listener in this case, to do one of only two options available. Stand in truth or remain a willing liar and accomplice to yours and humanity's slavery. What first must occur is for you to see the duality of this surreality reality, which is easier than you can imagine. And I'll offer examples of pure logic which defy any and all debate, where the truth in this matter is self-evident. But first, you're going to have to answer some difficult questions within yourself, where you can see where you are to have any idea of where to go from here. Without getting all technical and where I have already outlined the qualities of a contract in previous essays, I will lay this out as simple as possible. The very nature of a contract is simply an idea that you will either agree with or not. As a simple example of this, someone who asks someone to marry them, let's say, is offering contract, where the recipient of that offer has a choice to make. Either to say yes and enter into that contract immediately upon acceptance. Contracts aren't pieces of paper, they're spiritual in nature. Or say no to the offer where the obvious offer is null and void. No contract, period. And this all occurs in that moment of agreement, disagreement, and is binding in that moment, where pieces of paper are merely the effects of contract after the fact, given the illusion of power. There are no paper contracts that cannot be instantly destroyed upon you simply saying so in your mind, heart, and soul. For sake of an example, let's say these two beings agree to marry, with the answer from the offered being yes, where this contract is now in full force and effect, no paper required, no proof required, where the contracting parties are concerned. They know their contract, no third party required. That's where the legal illusion jumps in to lay claim to this contract. Even the legal illusionists confirm this truth via common law marriage, where no weddings or paperwork were ever involved. And how many people do you know that are living in contracts like this? Alas, these two are completely hypnotized into the legality is not reality, and they feel they must make it legal so they can take their already complete contract and literally gift this and any all future contracts to the Crown Corporation through the contract joinder of legal names they do not own, but rather are owned by the Crown Corporation. This is not rocket science, kids. Only a simple truth, so hard to accept because humanity has been hypnotized completely in the legal unreality since the day they showed up here in the earth game and soul trap. Now, if they contract or agree, which is a contract, to have children, they unwittingly deliver these children directly into the belly of the beast by virtue of the contracts already surrendered to the Crown Corporation. Your mom and dad did the same thing to you, totally unawares and deceived through their own ignorance of this most basic concept of contract law, which applies under all laws, man-made and universal spiritual laws. Their, quote, court, unquote, reality calls this intent, which is just a short way of saying that anything you agree to do, you are in full contract via the intent as shown by actions after the fact again. So try this on. 1. Mom and Dad were the contractors that built the body you are currently living in and thinking belongs to you. It doesn't. Mom and Dad typically named the body that you would eventually inhabit in the first breath that the body inhales to activate the trees of life, or lungs, which starts the chain reaction activating the consciousness within the body. That's you, the real you. You are not the body. You are the driver, in the same way as one would get in a car and drive it. The car doesn't move without you. You most certainly aren't the car when you get in a car. Are you the car when you get in the car, or are you the driver? Same thing with the body. You're the driver. 3. Mom and Dad registered and surrendered the body they created and named, and gave the Crown Corporation the gift via the joinder contract called legal name. The Crown is in contract with them, not you. But the contract is carried to you via third-party interloping when you also agree that the legal name is you. This is how the Crown monsters control every aspect of your life, because you are empowering the same contract that your parents had or have with the Crown, where your body is actually Crown property, if you use the legal name as registered by your parents. They unwittingly struck a deal with the devil, and you are simply going along with that contract in your ignorance of the most basic of contract concepts. Any and all use of the legal name as registered is all the proof of intent the body's owners need to lay claim not only to the body, but everything you create as well. Period. Yes, this is a big pill to swallow, but you're going to have to swallow this pill, or the system and its minions are going to swallow you up, but not before chewing you to pieces like any predator would and does. You are dealing with powerless predators that must get your consent to be able to do anything at all. And you hand them the fangs every time you claim to be their legal name as per the contract made and sealed with your parents. The original sin or contract belongs wholly to the servants of the Crown Corporation, where the intent to deceive and commit fraud is self-evident, rendering the contract null and void, nunc-pro-tunc, anyway. But while you agree to be legal name, this original sin belongs to you as well as a third-party contractor interloper. Keeps it alive. Even a first-day law school student can get this concept, so you can imagine how utterly retarded or evil any bar member, lawyer, judge truly is, where only the truly evil will refuse to step down upon this realization. It's either that or their greed, lust, and false sense of power is their motivator of intent shown in their actions of pure evil and harm they foist upon humanity every day. Please note that police are not included in the bar club, and have sworn an oath to protect their masters in their own ignorance as well. So where bar members can hide behind their legal veil, the cops are left utterly defenseless to any and all prosecutions put forward where an honorable citizen of the City of London State are harmed by them. We have one of those now to use, so pay attention. Inasmuch as the Crown servants have duped parents and humanity for eons via this fraud, it can only be enforced against a surrender to the Crown legal name, body, with you inside, because of the nature of the fraud held up by using something that did not belong to you legally. Remember, there are two worlds interacting here, one of the physical body and one of the spiritual you, dual realities. If you agree that you are the legal name, then you are in bondage, under contract, and you cannot be heard while you stand with unclean hands. This is why no one with a legal name can be heard in their courts, because they own the body and can shut you up at their leisure and choose to hear only what they want to hear to incriminate you every time. Fact. Get used to it, or stop doing it. This is due to the nature of the contract, excuse me, and the direction that contract flows. It works like this, and it's very simple. We have never and will never be given permission to use that legal name unless we choose to cross the bar and get one of their privilege cards to use the Crown-owned legal names, titles, etc. For any Crown privileges otherwise, one must swear an oath of allegiance to serve the Crown, and you will see this in any all government jobs, from the police and military to presidents, kings, queens, and all in-betweens, etc., and can be seen with titles bestowed upon them, be it privates, mayors, generals, princes, and so on. They're easy to spot by their titles and ranks in the slavery hierarchy, caste and bondage system they worship and serve at the expense of their very souls. Here's the catch-22 for them. Sure, I can't use the legal name my parents registered because the gamete interfallopian transfer, that's the conception outside the womb, by the way, gift, was given to the Crown, but I sure as hell can use a legal name gifted to me to use by the Crown, servants, should that reality ever show itself. Well, it has, and it's in the form of Jane Doe-755, a legal name that was given to me to use via a hospital, source registration contractors, where I would not use any legal name whatsoever without that permission granted first. In short, if it was given to me without terms and conditions, then it is an unconditional contract placed upon the Crown, where I decide the terms as I see fit and when I see fit, to change them to suit whatever I need, in the same way the Crown bar types have been doing to humanity. Unfortunately for them, they are bound to their contracts to serve the Crown at all costs, where I, and anyone I choose to share this gift with, have no such limitations or contract. Remember, this is a big one, boys and girls. Listen up. Remember, the owner holds all liability, where I own nothing and only use that which has been gifted me to use, again, as I see fit and when I see fit. The source creator for all things legal is the City of London State at the Middle Temple Bar, where all lawyers and judges are, quote, born, unquote, in exactly the same way that Jane Doe was born and then birthed at Mount Sinai Hospital, Toronto, Canada. Jane Doe is one dead baby they must serve as per their own rules and contracts to protect the honor of the Crown citizens of the City of London State, and only those born within the square mile city limits can claim such a right. All legal names are born in the City of London State and birthed elsewhere, in the same way as, let's say, all ships are built in one location and birthed in different ports around the world on their fictional legal maps, which are again a construct of the 2D dead legal unreality. So what does this mean on the grander scale then? Well, quite simply, it means this. Jane Doe is a gift, a gamete interfallopian transfer, a conception outside of the womb, for benevolent only humanity to privately prosecute any and all Crown agents, regardless of rank, status, bar privilege, or otherwise, since they're all sworn to protect the Crown and its honor. Fact. This means that even if a cop gets a lawyer, the lawyer must work on behalf of the Crown and thus protect Jane Doe-755's honor at all cost. Remember, this is a legal name to use, not own, which renders all liability on the shoulders of those that serve and worship the dead Crown Corporation. So anyone you choose to prosecute for something like trying to aid and abet you and forcing you into using a fraudulent legal name you know is fraud, against your will, under assumption and presumption, where no intent is or can be proven otherwise, well, in layman's terms, they're fucked. Because the lawyers and judges will and must work for an honorable citizen with all rights secured, lest they break their own blood oaths. What must occur before any of this can happen is for you to lose your legal name addiction. Because every sip is pure poison to your soul, and you are an open door of energy source to feed from. Why do you think they keep things so emotional and terrorized? That is the energy that keeps these parasites alive, not only duping humanity, but the vast majority of those that are unwittingly serving this beast in any and all legal fiction realm capacities, like cops or lawyers or judges, etc. If they can keep you possessed of possessions via greed and the like, then you are doubly duped, where this physical lust addiction will consume them, literally. No, the cops and the like are not the enemy. Only the very few that control this inner matrix keep them all spinning in illusions of power and authority where, in fact, they are utterly powerless and foodstuffs for these darkest of parasites. The choice is and always will be yours, regardless of station in life, being consumed by the dead legal soul-sucking reality of the legal name fraud. So don't bitch at me if your addiction owns you. That is your monkey and your circus, where this ringmaster finally figured out how to control my own reality with my own contracts and terms. I set the terms, no one else. This is far beyond being too logical to deny any further, and that is easily proven by any and all emotional reactions to this truth. Yes, I had the same apprehension, but I also have my own contract within to uphold, where I will no longer willingly commit harm via ignorance of the truth and will stand to post, regardless of illusional consequences your emotional minds conjure up. I don't debate this fact and truth with emotional and psychotic legal name addicts because they're still under the influence of their addictions, and it's illogical to try and reason with any crack addicts until they finally put their legal name pipes down once and for all. Excuse me. Until then, well, you're on your own, where the toughest part regarding any addiction is admitting that you have one first. where so many don't even know they've been hooked on this crack in the system for a lifetime. Every addict can justify their addiction and weaknesses to it and come up with all manner of excuses as to why they still need to commit spiritual suicide. All I'm saying is that that's not a good idea, is all. Because the system's crack dealers want to make sure you stay hooked and will terrorize you into your next fix. I mean, hey, that's how all the crack dealers make their money. And all cops are the frontline dealers. Unfortunately for them now, though, is that they're going to be jailed for these crimes finally to get these legal name crack dealers off our streets once and for all, from the bottom up and the top down. Creation works this way, as above, so below. And they have their contracts to deal with after all. All accounts are settled now. Okay.